Well, it's only taken me a year to finally get around to installing these cameras. These are the Ram Trailer 360 camera system that I bought when I bought the 3500, and I really was certain I was going to use this. Although I've gotten by a year without doing it, I still think it's valuable enough to put together. So we brought our supplies with us. We've got everything I think we could possibly need. These are the cameras. These are going to mount 4 points on the trailer. They're going to ultimately route into this box using all this fiber optic wire, and then from this box into this large trailer wire that's going to go up through the tongue and up into the back of the truck and connect into the trailer prep package. You get to go along for the journey. I haven't found anybody else doing this online, so I'm kind of doing this blind. Ram did give me a set of instructions, which doesn't tell me too much about the system. I think it's enough that I can figure it out though. So I appreciate you joining us. Hello everybody, checking into you from the Green Swamp West Track Ashley campground. If you're not familiar with this is under the Florida Water Management District, and this is free camping. Each one of the sites here have water spigots, non-potable water, fire ring. Most of them have picnic tables or little pavilions. Really nice canopy shaded pull-ins. Went through a couple dirt roads to get here, and you might be able to tell from me panning around here that we have the place completely to ourselves. This is June 5th, and we are the only people here. We picked right in the center of the loop with a nice canopy. I'm not dependent on solar. You might be able to hear the generator running, and so I really wasn't worried about keeping the battery charged. But I was hoping to use that canopy as shade because I'm hoping to do some work on the Brinkley. Reservations are free. You do have to have a login, so you log into the site, and I'll put a link and some information on the screen for that. And you can stay up to 7 days at a time. You can stay up to 30 days for the year. Like I said, you just simply reserve if there are spots available, which obviously there is. You can run generators, it says, from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. After that, it's quiet time. But I'm suspecting if nobody's here, I don't think they're going to care if I run mine overnight just to keep a little bit of AC going. It's comfortable right now. Might be some rain moving in later this evening here. You can actually hear some thunder kind of over there in the background probably. But we got the ACs running inside there now. Debbie's in there cooking up some dinner for us, and we'll check back in here shortly. Okay, so this is where we're at now. We had to measure from front to rear and side to side. So I know I'm 8 foot wide and I'm 34 foot 11 long. So that means I'm 4 feet on center from east to west, and I am 17 foot 5 from north to south. The other part I have to worry about with these cameras is that I have to go at the same height all the way around. So if I go same height from the ground, my rear is 10 foot 3 to put the bracket there. And I'm putting them on the sidewall, by the way, not on the roof. If I follow the roof line, it's a mid-profile coach, which means the front is quite a bit higher than the rear. So in order to get 10 foot 3 on the side, I have to come down to the blue tape mark. The yellow tape is the first try to get my height proper for the rear camera. And again, Ram says that the cameras have to be all at the same height. So you can see the problem with the mid profile is how much I drop in the rear to how high my front nose cap is. So I lowered the sides down to 10 foot 3. The only issue I'm going to have there is, because these are wired cameras, is I'm going to have to run the wire up to the roof along the side of the coach. And I think I have a solution for that. And just for reference, I took it off jacks. I put it on the truck hitch. So that way it's at what ride height would be. And that's the third thing you need to gauge is what's your ride height. I don't want to know what its height is while it's leveled sitting on a campsite. I want to know what its height is while it's right on the road. Ram says I have a plus or minus 1 inch for my elevations and my north-south, my east-west measurements. I think I'm within all my ranges on that. And the truck and coach are sitting at ride level right now, because I do tow just a hair nose high. So again, I wanted it at truck level, not at ground level. And then the final thing is that nose cap. So this is the biggest probably dilemma out of the whole thing, is how do I get that nose cap camera up there. What I think I'm going to do at 10 foot 3, which would be just above the 5 Brinkley mountains, I'll mount the camera there with a little bit of a shim to give it its 45-degree angle, and then the wire will go just straight up the nose cap up to the roof. And I'll check in from you with the roof here in just a minute. So on the roof, right about here actually is where the first wire comes over. Opposite side, right about there, is where the other wire comes over. Of course, from the rear, right behind the AC unit, the rear wire comes over. That's my halfway point for my nose cap right there. So the nose cap is going to be down there, and then the wire will feed up along the top. So once I get all these wires up here, what do I do with them? Well, Brinkley, fortunately, was thinking ahead. So they put this guy in, and this is a standpipe that goes down into the pantry. Basically, there's an access there for it, and then goes down into the basement. And so I can feed my wires down through this and then down into the basement where the main box controller is going to live, and then a single wire will come out of there, and I've got to fish it up through the gooseneck somehow. I haven't worked that part out yet, and then it'll plug into the back of the truck. But anyway, this is going to save me a lot of work. So this guy, it's actually sealed a little bit, so there's a little Phillips head in there. Just pop that out, this lifts up. I think a lot of people use this for their solar. If they're going to add solar, they can drop more wires down through there. But that's solving a lot of my wire problems. All I got to do is bring my wires up to the roof here. I got some white, it's not a Turnip Bond, it's actually Flex Seal tape, just to secure those wires down up here so they're not flying around in the breeze or anything or catching a tree limb. We've got measurements now, except for nose cone. It's time for a Home Depot run because my dog ate my roll of tape. Okay, so we're making progress. We've got the driver's side camera measured and mounted, and I've just got them taped up there for now. Rear camera, which these are independent of the backup camera, obviously they're working on their own. And then the passenger side camera, which is obviously being interfered with the awning. What I'm gonna be able to do though is guide my wire horizontally and then straight up to the roof in between the gap of the awning and the coach, so that it's not getting pinched anywhere. And like I said, we're gonna cover that in white so it doesn't look like a bunch of black wires just dangling everywhere. This is the most challenging spot because obviously the nose cap is not flat. And these cameras are made for a nice square flat utility trailer or horse trailer or something like that. For your reference though, if you happen to have a Brinkley, I'm gonna assume that the 5 mountains are put on symmetrical and they're right at the halfway point of the 4-foot line, east to west. And then as far as up and down, I was able to measure with a level and a tape measure straight to the ground. I was 10'3" off the ground. So 10'3" puts me right in that center diamond of the Brinkley Mountains. My camera needs to be mounted at a 45-degree angle. So I'm gonna try to make a template now, get that 45-degree angle accomplished. .5 degrees, and then on the top is 0 level. Yeah, it's not professional yet, but tell you what, that was a lot harder than it looks. Okay, I've got 4 cameras mounted, well, temporarily mounted on the trailer. They're all at 10'3" and at the 45-degree angle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this next to the trailer. This is the brain, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to plug in each one of these wires and drop them over the side of the trailer just to get them plugged into this guy, and then plug this into the truck like it's hooked up. Follow the directions on the screen and see what these look like. Each of these are color coded. That's what we're doing now, is just going around and plugging each one of these in. one more to go, just so you see what this side is. Only this end is color coded. The other end is just the same gray connection. So you gotta make sure you're starting with the right side over here. Okay, every camera is plugged in. Truck connection plugged in. Feeds down and actually has a split in it. I'm sure that probably helps with installation. That plugs in to a 12 pin there. Trailer.
Do you have to do it every single time?
I don't know.
You deleted it.
Okay, so now what we're seeing, so the front might be a hair off because of the front dome, you know. It's not off, but it's just because it's throwing it, probably because it wants to be looking straight down. The rear is golden. Passenger side is good. Driver's side
What is the spigot?
my drain spout. Otherwise,
It's good.
so the big view is the rear end. Obviously, we can see a lot more view on the rear end than we could on this guy, because this guy, I don't know if the camera's on right now. The trailer power is on, so it might be on. Got your headlights on? No, because it takes my power off my headlights, so that's not going to show up. Never mind. I was going to say, because that one's a much narrower view and it looks basically right down at the bumper. This Lippert camera does, or the Furrion camera. This is a much broader view. I can see all my lanes around me. This is actually pretty nice.
So are you happy with this?
I'm happy with it, yeah. And this right here, this is going to be nice backing up. I wonder if I'd take that gutter spot off of there. It is nice though. And you know what? It works.
Let me go unplug the front one.
Okay, yeah. What we're gonna do is she's gonna unplug the front one just to see what it looks like, if it confuses it or if it shuts it down. Because right now my front one is just that box top taped onto it. And obviously I'm not gonna wanna drive with that on there. We're gonna see if it shuts down the system. Okay. You can see what happened. It knocked out the whole, well, that was on my front view.
Do okay?
So I was on front view and the whole screen went blank. It just blacks out. Kind of what I figured it was going to do is blanks the front out. So if I go to the rear view, I still got a rear view. So I got a side view. Still got a side view. I could just keep on rear view for driving, because you can run this where you're driving. It's just on your trailer view. It's exactly what I thought it would do. Is it just blacks out that front like it's dead, like when you open a door on the truck camera. So if I run without that nose camera on there, I'm still gonna get all this view on those other three cameras. And because that nose camera isn't completely done yet, we're gonna be leaving on Sunday. I'm not gonna get that done by then. So I'm gonna just take that nose camera off and store it. The other three cameras, I'll show you guys how we plan on installing those without doing any screw holes in the side of our camper. Day 2 of the install. We've got all the measurements done. We know where the cameras go. We've tested them and they work. By the way, these are plastic. I didn't mention that. It's not a metal bracket. If you did need to bend it to accomplish that angle you need, you're probably gonna have to heat it. I don't know how strong it would be after you did that, but they're very light. I decided to use an industrial strength 3M two-sided adhesive. I already put that on the back of it, so it's ready to just peel and stick. Because these are so light, I'm really thinking that I'm not going to have a problem with that at all. That way I don't have any holes in my coach anywhere. So the wires, I put all back together again. This is the front one. We'll be putting that in a little bit. Sections that are going to show on the side of the coach, which you'll see in just a few minutes here. There'll be a little bit of section showing, so I covered those sections with a white electrical tape. I did it long ways instead of wrapping it like a spiral, and that way it's not going to be as offensive as a black wire running up the side of the coach. And then I've got a third step I'm going to do to help kind of conceal that a little bit. We've got the rear one on, and we're going to go up there and take a look at that now. We're at the back of the coach. This is affixed now with the 3M tape. It feels very strong to me. I did clean it. I cleaned it with, well, first I did a degreaser and then denatured alcohol. So you can see my coach needs a bath really, really bad. But I cleaned the area where these are gonna go on, degreased them, did the denatured alcohol to get any of the residual, any kind of oil or anything like that off of there. And of course I did the back of these before I put the adhesive onto the back of the cameras as well. I made myself a template to use. It would have worked perfectly. I haven't had the level mounted on it. Back here it doesn't work because I've got the rear marker lights that are kind of in the way for me. So I ended up having to go back old school and measured it. I got my tape lines on here because this stuff is kind of like you get one chance to do it and then you're having to Google on everything back off again. Anyway, I want to make sure I was really accurate on where I was going to be, and it's probably not going to affect the system really if it's a micron off. I know that my camera head to the ground is 10 foot 4 inches. I was marking 10.3 because I was actually marking it from my center hole that I was using measurements on yesterday, but I know from camera pinpoint to ground is 10 foot 4. It says there's a plus or minus 1 inch. I'm going to try to get it, as, like I said, as close to accurate as I can, but I'm happy with this. It's very secure now. I'm not worried that this is going to come flying off in the wind. I certainly don't think just traveling down the road is going to take it off. Now it's just a matter of getting the other two up and getting some wires run. And this is a template that I made to help me get to a level and cross point, because this right here is a cross point that's in the hole at the center of the camera, but I taped over that hole to put the 3M tape on it. And also, I put these marks on. We spent the day measuring everything, and I didn't clean the surface. So, word of the wise, clean your surface first, and then put your marks on, because then, you know, peel everything off and remeasure everything. But anyway, this is ready to go. So now, I know my level goes across my two measurement lines there, and my bubble is level. Well, it's a hair level. I'm doing this left-handed right now, but now all I gotta do is flip this back. I can peel this off and I can clean my area. All this is just some degreaser. I did it 50-50 with water. It's a concentrated degreaser because it gets most of the stuff off of it to make sure I've got a good stick surface for that 3M. Not too bad on this side. The driver's side was really bad, and the rear was the worst. So now I'm going to use denatured alcohol to get all the rest of the grease off, and this will evaporate and dry in just a matter of seconds. Here's some rain clouds coming in maybe. I'm going to tape that there. Camera will sit right there. You see that's that line across there where that hole is. Where that hole is that we were using for our reference point. And then press hard for 60 seconds. All right, well that's on there. Okay, I'm happy with it. Last little bit of denatured alcohol in the lens here, just to make sure that's all cleared off. We're gonna wash next, but get all the finger grease off of that guy. This is the pantry, the Brinkley Z3100, and I believe the 2900 with a slide out bathroom is built the same way. You see this looks like a dryer panel or a dryer vent in the pantry. That red cap right there is the chute where my camera wires are going to drop down from. Move to the basement, maybe I'll see back there where I can pull them back through. Okay, all I did every so often on the cord, I saw no purpose to the Gorilla Tape all the way up. Just to kind of secure it in place, really. Not too worried about a branch or anything pulling it off. That tape is, I mean, it's basically like a Turnabond. It's really on there. I don't think these are going to come off. It's probably no different than having a solar panel wire laying up here. So all the rear, the two sides are all wired, and they come to the front to where that downpipe is. Debbie's down there. We're going to talk to her in just a minute. What I decided it'd be smart to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the front wire in and feed it, even though I'm not quite ready to put that nose cap on there because I got to manufacture that bracket for it. But I'm gonna go ahead and drop the wire for the front anyway, so all four of them are going down there to that basement. Okay, go ahead and pull through.
Got it. Oh, yep, got it. Got it.
Okay, so all the wires are dropped, including the nose cap. And I went ahead and taped this up. Brinkley had it taped up, and Brinkley seems to know what they're doing, so I'm gonna go ahead and I taped it up too, just to resist anything trying to make a nest down in there or something. And then the cap, you know, goes over the top of that. Those two forks in each four corners sit back into those holes and it locks it in place. And then it has a Phillips head on it also to really secure it. And Brinkley had lap sealant poured into that hole. It just popped out. It's just like this one right here, you know, just to hold that hole from, I guess, holding water, because it doesn't really go anywhere. But since Brinkley seems to know what they're doing, I'm going to use a piece of my white Gorilla Tape to seal that hole as well. So now it's to the basement. All right, we're in the basement, and I just had Miss BOE basically tape these to a pole that I could reach up there to that access panel and pull them back to me again. So what I found is that this is my front camera cable. There's only 9 meters of cable for the front camera. There's 12 meters of cable for the other 3 cameras. But because the way the fifth wheel is built and where the access drop is at, basically I'm burning up 15 feet from the nose cap just up to the downpipe, or at least more than 15 feet actually, and then another, you know, 8 or 9 feet down here, and my cable literally comes right to here, which is okay because right about here is where I'm going to put the Mopar box. Okay, we had just enough cable. We'll put it underneath the heater vent. It goes into the back. You can see it, I can't see it. It goes into the back of the box there. I've got the trailer wire plugged in also. The Mopar box fits nicely here, but where the screw holes are at are right over the top of these steel beams, or steel edges. So instead of just putting 2 screws into it or trying to, you know, wonky it, I did an even more wonky job. I just zip tied it, because fortunately there's access panel here and on both sides. I just ran a set of zip ties all the way around the outside of it. Next step is this trailer wire here. We've got it going up into the top of the ceiling here, and then we've got to feed this to the front bay. Just to kind of give you a picture of the rest of the place I was working at. So this is our basement. It's not real big because it doesn't have a drop frame. That's where we're at. I'll get that light to come on here one more time here. There we go. You see the Ram box or Mopar box there. I put a second set of zip ties on the base unit. And then trailer hitch is flowing across the top. We've got to cut a hole in our front panel there. So what I'm hoping is underneath this cosmetic plastic work is that I've got access enough to feed that wire loom up through here from the front bay. This is the last mystery. So I don't know what's in here. You're going to find out with me. No reason to be alarmed. This is just a drill. Thank you.
I'll jam my capuds.
The whole thing falls off. 2 screws held the whole thing on. Right here, also through there, with that wall fish that I didn't want to spend the money for to buy.
Well, if we go to Home Depot, you can get it.
Oh, I need it. Okay, so these right here go right here. There's a frame rail on this side, but this side is hollow. And that styrofoam probably goes the length of it. Guys, frame it right there. Okay, up top here, actually that's where those are at. I don't know if you guys can see, I can feel. Get a light up there. Went and bought a wallfish at Rural King, just a little small guy. And good news is, I'm trying to point you away from the LED lights back there. Put it through here, and it came out. So I got a clean path from wire. So now I've got to get this guy attached to the fish and pull it through. We had a little bit of a stressful night last night. Not really stressful, just things weren't working out the way we wanted them to, but this is the first storage bay. We've got the wire finished up here, and I cut the hole in. I needed to use a 1 3/8 bit in order to fit that den plug through there. And I thought that was gonna be the most stressful part about cutting a hole in my trailer. It wasn't too bad actually at all. I just used a blade bit and did a little bit on either side to make a nice clean hole. I'll have to go over that with some non-drip lap sealant to seal that up, just because the rest of these are all sealed up. And this bay is actually climate controlled up, and I've left these zip ties loose just so we've got a little bit of room to play. Got my wall fish out from the Rural King. We got these panels pulled down all around the gooseneck, and I was able to find a path up inside of here where these looms go through for the rest of the light power and so forth. And I'm able to get the fish through there no problem. And actually I took out one bolt just to give me a little bit of room between the fiberglass there, but probably wasn't necessary. I'll put that back in real quick. This just had about a dozen screws on it. But the problem is that this is such a big plug on it, you know, the den plug or whatever they call it. It doesn't want to pull through there. I get to a point where I'm up here and I'm dealing with the frame, the floor, which obviously is immovable, and then behind there, which you can't see but I can feel, is another frame rail and some of this material here, which is relatively flexible, but then I'm sharing this spot with 3 other looms of wire to go through there. So I just can't get it past that last hump down there. My solution at this point in time is I think I'm going to splice this. Then now I'm just pulling a straight wire through, which is really what you should be doing anyways, I think. And I'll leave enough room that I can solder it back together so it won't be just electrical taped or whatever. I can't think of another solution to feed this wire except for literally just to stick it to the outside of the trailer, which I don't want to do. And that's actually going to take up quite a bit of distance for me. As it is right now, if I run this, I'm just kind of eyeballing it obviously because I got some bends, but you know, to my hitch, then it goes, you know, just about as long as the installed power cable does. So it gives me plenty of room to do it that way. But if I go over to the side and try to go, you know, climb the wall, I'm gonna probably need to get another extension. And my other saving thought is that this is just a Mopar part, and so if I absolutely destroy this, I'm sure I can buy another one. I'm sure Ram is just gonna have them for free. So good news is 24 hours and all the cameras stayed on. A little seal of 3M around the bend there, the drip edge might have let go a little bit. Those I'll probably have to keep on playing with because that's just kind of guiding it up there so they're not flopping in the breeze. But the cameras are the biggest point, to make sure those cameras stay on. Okay, well, where I'm at now is probably, I don't know if it's the most scary part or not, because I mean everything can be replaced, and like I said, this has a Mopar number on it, so I can buy a new one if I just can't figure it out. But I don't think it's that difficult, so maybe I'm overthinking this thing. But anyway, I've peeled back the insulation, you know, binding on this, and my plan is I'm just gonna snip these. They're all color coded. I don't have anything here to solder, but I can at least just wire tie them back together and put some electrical tape on them if I want to try to get the thing operational for the trip home. It's only an hour-and-a-half trip home, so that's not that big of a deal. My big deal is I just want to get it pulled through the front compartment so I can put everything back together, because I don't want to tear everything back apart again. I guess here goes nothing. And like I said, they're all color coded. I think I've left myself plenty of room here to strip and solder when it's time. So I'm doing it. There's no going back now. Cut the green wire, Bill. And I don't even have really good tools right now because I only brought what I thought I was going to need for sticking the cameras on. So I'm using a Leatherman tool to nip my stuff. And like I said, I don't even have wire strippers with me. I've got my teeth. You get to hold that. No, you don't.
Do you want to do the bottom or no? It's okay. You don't think that'll get caught separate?
You might run a little bit over that too,
Just maybe one.
just to smooth it out.
Yeah. Doesn't
Probably
get
a good
caught,
thought.
I think.
Yeah.
What is in the rack? That bucket, that jug, is it like hydraulic fluid?
Yes.
Are you supposed to fill it?
You check it.
Is that low or no?
Right now, no, because all the jacks are out. See what I mean?
Right.
But no, it's not low because all the fluid comes out of there
Gotcha.
and fills those jacks to lift. So right now, since the jacks are extended, there's less fluid in there.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, that's a hydraulic system for that. Okay, well. All we can do is try it. It's already stuck.
No. Trying to guide it so it stays on the same. Something to be honest.
I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Holy cow, it worked, Deb.
So
It worked.
this cord's gonna have to hang out.
Well, it's gonna hang out, just like the other one hangs out.
All
Okay,
right.
let me feed a little bit more cable through here because I need enough cable to
Good.
connect to here, which I'm just guessing at it, but that's enough cable right now anyways. It gives me a little bit of slack. And then how much cable do I have here? Oh, that's not very much, is it?
No.
Actually, if I had 4 feet, that'd be best because it'd be the big turns I get. I don't think it binds that much. This guy has plenty of cable. I mean, it's like a lot of cable. 5 foot, 6.5 foot of cable, but that literally just lays in the bed.
Yeah, but do you have enough to do that today?
So right now, what do we have on this guy? 1 foot, 2 foot, 3.5 foot.
So you have enough.
Well, my measurements are, I'm just guessing at it. Yeah. I probably would want more. We've got it all buttoned up for the trip back home. I tested it, and this is not going to be long enough to, you can see what the power cable runs as, and it's another 3 or 4 feet. And the reason is I need enough room to make my turns. So as the trailer turns away from the truck, this will get pulled and yank out of the back, or probably pull the plug out of the side of the truck. But I've got it fed though, and that's the important part. We got everything buttoned back up, all our screws are back in and everything. And I've got this hanging here now that's got to go to this. Things look a little bit different for you right now because we are back at the storage yard. For you, it's been a couple seconds. For me, it's been about a week. So where you left off at was this nose cap. I needed to make a new bracket or an additional bracket for it. I thought those were plastic. Turns out that those brackets are actually a lightweight aluminum. And I figured out that by just putting a little bit of heat on it, I was able to bend it. So we just simply kind of bent it back a little bit. I put a torch on it and warmed it up. Did it at home doing the math, and then came out here and finished up with just, I needed about 2 or 3 more degrees on it. I applied it the same way as we did all the other ones. Then the tape that's holding these guys in place, this is actually a black version of that white Eternabond that we were using on the roof. This is actually a flex seal. And then since the wire is black, it kind of blends in. And then once it hit the top, I wrapped that in white so it kind of hides it over the white roof there. So that's from the other angle there. Wire just travels up through the black nose cap there. It's kind of hidden from a distance. You really can't see it at all. I wrapped it with white up here on the slant where it's going to show. And then just use the white Eternabond to feed it along here, just so it's out of the way and it's not going to pick up, hopefully, tree limbs or anything. The last problem we had to solve was getting more length out of this guy. So we'd join up to this guy and then have enough room to come out of here and go down and give the truck enough turning radius. So we went back to Ram. I was certain that Ram sell another piece to me, just another extension, because this one is actually just an extension, then this one plugs into the truck. All I needed was one more part. My Ram guy contacted Mopar. Long story short, Mopar says you can't buy that. They don't make spare parts. They don't make even just individual parts. And the only way to buy one of these guys is, or any part of that Ram trailer 360 camera kit, would be to buy a whole kit. Basically, I had to manufacture my own. I had the head. This came off of here so we could fish it through. And I knew I had 7 wires. I wasn't going to try to match all the colors for the wires. So instead what I did was I just did my black and greens I had in the shop already for some automotive wiring. It's 18 gauge regular car wiring. The beautiful part about it was I was kind of picturing having to solder, but I found these guys solder seal. So it's the type of heat shrink that you're normally used to seeing, but these red guys in the end kind of grip down a little bit harder on the wires. And that silver is a piece of low heat solder. So with a heat gun, not only does it shrink and grab the wire, you don't have to twist them or anything, you just kind of blend them in there. And then that solder melts and solders it, so it seals it and solders it all at the same time. Great item so far. I paid about $8 for 20 of them at Walmart, and they're on Amazon too. Nonetheless, it's made it real easy. Now I'm going to do the part here, which was even better because I didn't want to really be standing on my head in the bay trying to solder. I'm not really very good at soldering. What I did find was in the garage I was using my heat gun to finish these guys but this guy runs at, I think I said 1200 watts. And so to come out here in the yard and work on the trailer, my AC plug in the bed only runs 400 watts. And bringing the generator out here just wasn't convenient to try to run off of that thing. So what I did find was a little blue flame torch blue. Works perfect. Actually, it works, I think, better than the heat gun. I practiced on one at home before I brought it with me, and these are refillable. I think I got this at Tractor Supply, but these things are indispensable as far as I'm concerned. These will melt that solder and the heat shrink, and I don't have to stand on my head with a solder gun. And then the final thing I did was, because I said I didn't have all those different color wires, but I went through and labeled them. And because I'm like that, actually did my meter on each one of them from the top to make sure continuity ran to that wire, so I wasn't cross-feeding any of my cameras anywhere. Now all we got to do is just join these to this. I'll open up the cap a little bit, give myself some room to pull some more slack up into here, which will give me plenty of room. I made 10 feet, so I got plenty of room to get myself up to the same length that the power cord is now anyways. So let's start with just solid black, which is right here. So you got solid black. I'm going to leave these labels on when I wrap it, so they're on there when they go up in there, just in case I ever have to pull this thing apart for any reason. And you don't really need to strip that much. These little sleeves go on there, and you don't even twist them because they kind of mesh in with each other down inside that solder piece. Make sure I grab the right one again. That's white, that's black right there. You can see why I labeled these, because now they're all the same color on the other end of it. And just kind of shove them together. See if I can get a picture for you guys here. So they just kind of mesh in together underneath that solder sleeve. We got black to black. And now the torch does its work. You might be able to see that solder melt. I can see it melting inside of there. It doesn't take much. In fact, that's plenty, because now my plastic's starting to melt. So, but that solder is melted in there, and I'm confident I'll let it a chance to cool a little before I tug on it, but that is connected. So next thing is 6 more times the same. So I'm very confident in each one of these joints now. I can see melted solder in each one of them, holding these all together. And I'm pretty certain, in fact I'm very certain, they're all a good connection. So as long as I label these properly and put them to the proper wire here, then when I plug into the truck, I should get camera feed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a wrap of electrical tape, which I know is probably a carnal sin, but I did to the rest of it, and it's all going to be up inside of the overhead here for the front bulkhead here, so it's not going to show anywhere. So final view, you kind of already saw this, but I zip tied this up. It looks like I missed my hole with a screw. I'm going to put that in again, but zip tied that up to the main line. And I did trim off the edges of these things, because these things are brutal. They're sharp, and they'll get you every time. But goes over to truck, hooks into the port that was already made available. And of course, this was ordered with the camera system. If you just buy the camera system, it's not going to help you, because your truck has to have not only the port, but it also has to have the software in it, though. So it's kind of a triple-edged sword, I guess is the way to say it. I got plenty of length now, the same length I got my power cable, so I'm sure I got enough room to make all my turns. And very happy. Do one more peek around the outside here. So the nose cap, you know, that wire looks like it's a little bit loose, but it's actually securely fastened down. It's not going to go anywhere. Blends in pretty good. If I really were to go back further, I mean, you can tell there's a camera there, and you can tell the front of my nose cap needs to be cleaned. On the way back from the Ashley campground, we stopped at a Blue Beacon, and they did a pretty decent wash. I didn't have time to wash. They washed the truck and the trailer for me. I think it was about 60 bucks, and I think it was money well spent. They just didn't get all the way to the top, so it needs some TLC. You can see where they brushed it as high as they could anyways, but it was well worth 60 bucks, because the outside of it was filthy. You guys saw it when I was working on it there. Had quite a bit of the dirt and, not mold, but the black spots on it, but they did a pretty good job for it. It only took about 15 minutes. So they did a pretty good job cleaning it up. So that's the door cam, or right cam, that you can see. I actually changed that clear 3M, wasn't really holding, so I added a little bit of that white Eternal Bond tape just for the corner piece to keep that wire secure there. And the rear cam, I'm leaving the Furrion in place. I'll keep the Furrion in the kit Obviously I'm not going to take the camera off the side of the trailer, or back the trailer. Probably going to be using my surround cam much more than that Furrion. And then that non-campside or water side, you can see the edge of that drain. It was right where that camera head was at, and that's why it was picking that up. All right, we are in the truck and we've got everything wired, everything buttoned up, and I am backed up in a towing position. I'm not actually hooked, but it's the same place and height and everything that the trailer would be at. And so we're going to fire this thing, and you're going to see with me if this is paid off. So we've already told the truck we're hooked up to the fifth wheel. The power is plugged in and the trailer cam is plugged in. We're going to go to vehicle, and since the trailer surround is lit up, that tells me it is active. So we're going to tap that, and that's trailer surround. So hopefully you can see it as well as I can see it. Obviously the top of it's just whited out because it doesn't know what the top looks like, but the 360 is showing up just like it would on your vehicle 360. You can see a little bit of the nose cap up there of the Brinkley 5 Mountains logo, and then the rear window of the truck. That's the only thing that really messes with it. I'll show you a bigger view of that here in a minute, but because the nose cap of the fifth wheel is not flat, it's rounded. So it sees that nose cap and it shows that it doesn't know what else to do with it. And in here, right now it's on the rear view camera for the main picture. We can actually go to the front view camera and you see a better angle of what that looks like. But again, down here you see all that area that's the fifth wheel nose cap there that you know, the camera picks it up, it doesn't know how to bleed it out. But nonetheless, I can see much more view, obviously, with the front of the cab of the truck, and even the mirrors, which are actually in right now. They're not all the way out in trailer mode. Go to the right side. That's the camp side or the door side. Left side, which I didn't touch it. There we go. Left side. And right here is the slide. And then right above the slide is where there's a drain spout. And that drain spout has left the chat. So where that drain spout was at, the camera was picking up that drain spout, and it was showing this big, huge white thing sticking out the side of the trailer. Because it was so close to it, it just showed like this. It was about that size. So I took this off the side runner. The rear still has one on it. It just kind of diverts the water out away from the trailer. But it caused so much confusion with the camera right here. It just made it look like you had a big beam sticking out of your trailer there. So the drain spout is going to go in the parts kit for now. So and then back to a regular front view. So if I get out of this and go to trailer, then it gives me where I can just select full screen basically. So trailer front, and it gives me a full on screen without that split of the 360 on there. So driving down the road, I mean, that's not going to give me a lot more view than I can see out the windshield probably. But the rear certainly gives me a lot more view than I was seeing out of my Furrion camera. This is actually a Furrion camera. You can see in the other lens that I had it kind of pointed down so I could see basically where the bumper was back, and it would see just about to where that welder trailer was right there. But nonetheless, I could see if I was backing up to something, but I didn't have a lot of long views. So in traffic, cars would have to be like right behind me for me to pick them up on this camera. But obviously on this 360 camera, I can see to the horizon just about behind me. And the same thing with my right side. I can see traffic beside me if I wanted to, or where the picnic table is, and it's below the awning. So even with the awning down, you can't use this unless the truck's hooked up. There's no way to pipe into it like remotely with your phone, like a blink camera or something like that. But I can certainly see clearly what's on the right hand side of me, and the same thing for the left side of me. And of course here we're at the storage yard now, so I'm just seeing everybody else's junk all parked around me right now. The 360 though, to be able to go to, let me see, trailer surround. To see this 360 view, while I'm backing up to truly see where I'm landing at. See that rear view, or I could even take a look at the truck front to make sure I'm not cutting into a power box or something like that. We're going to use it here in about 2 weeks. We'll be taking about a 14-day trip up to West Virginia, and I think I'm going to get some valuable use out of this. This is the camera system in live action. Our trip to West Virginia ended at Disney's Fort Wilderness, and we got plenty of opportunity to use this system. Actually, at one place, Debbie didn't even have to get out of the truck for me to back in. We just watched the cameras and the mirrors and put it right in its spot. Very convenient. This time I used it actually pulling out of one of the Fort Wilderness sites. As you may know, some of those sites are kind of tight. The roads are pretty narrow, and gives you a little bit more peace of mind using those cameras, because I could see all around me. I could see the poles. I could see the power meters and so forth that are around me. Any of the other vehicles, sometimes they leave their noses kind of sticking out in the road. But I use this to kind of demonstrate how I can see it actually in motion, working around some of those corners there and kind of keep my eye on the screen. And Debbie's kind of helped me keep an eye on the screen also while I'm looking out the windshield, obviously. What I did find was that the camera system is active at low speeds. I talked earlier in the video about using it on the highway. If you start it when you're at low speed, it'll stay on the screen. But the moment you come out of that mode, like with a turn signal flash or something like that, that activates another camera, it won't go back into that mode. So the cameras can't be reactivated once you're on the highway. So it's really meant for low speed, slow speed, back in, that sort of thing. Once it's active like it is right now, it'll stay active until the screen kicks out of something. But if you go over your navigation or your radio and try to go back into camera mode, it won't let you do it. So it knows you're traveling, and to keep your attention on the road, it won't let you do some of the functions on that entertainment system that they call it. But this is a really good demonstration. You kind of see where I get that total 360 view on that camera back there and all the way around. You can see obviously what's coming up behind me because the rear camera is activated. But I can see my corners, making sure I'm going wide enough. Very beneficial. So about 3 days of work for me, but I'm a little bit slow. I had to test it multiple times throughout just to make sure I was on the right path. Measuring the cameras to get the right height, setting up the truck to it, prepping the wires, wrapping them, the 3M tape, and just deciding how I was going to put that together, whether I was going to actually put holes in my fifth wheel or not. I think deciding the 3M tape for now was the best choice. It's still sticking now. It's been about, like I said, 7 or 8 days since I put it on. It's been heat, it's been rain, really hot. That's why I'm in the truck right now trying to cool off a little bit. And they're all still staying. In fact, I think the hotter it gets, the better they're gonna probably stick. The install wasn't terrible. The hard part about it was just because I've never seen it done before. I don't see anybody else doing this, hooking it up to a fifth wheel. It really was designed for, like I said, a flat top, flat sides, flat front type of a utility trailer, I think. But it's gonna work on this. The only really hitch that I ran into is not having enough length in the truck wire, and that was an easy fix. So we're gonna be happy with it. It's been a great time. I learned a lot. Hope you guys did too. If this is beneficial, don't forget to click the thumbs up button. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me out. Helps out the channel. It doesn't put any money in my pocket. I don't have that many subscribers. It helps me know that people are actually watching and maybe getting something out of it. And until the next time, thanks for checking in on Bill Over Explains Everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. I'm just filming the floor.
Right, no, I've got that. But Ruger's been a big help, though. Chasing dragonflies and making sure the camp is clear of all dragonfly predators. Been waiting all day to use that joke. Power now. Got a 300-pound gorilla ladder, so it's a 300-pound gorilla in the room. But it works and it gets me where I need to be.